Remember, in Gravity Falls, there is no one you can trust. No one you can trust.
Hello! Grappling hook!
Gravity Falls is one of Disney's most brilliant and entertaining cartoons of all time, but like any animation, there are some huge mistakes, especially on some of the freeze frames. Hey, we're no animators, but if we were, you'd all be watching Pitch Meetings, the animated series right now. But seeing some of these mistakes doesn't take anything away from the classic show. Watch to see how eyeballs disappear, unfinished animation made it on air, and how Weirdmageddon just got a whole lot weirder.
Now who wants to put on some blindfolds and get into my car?
Yay! Wait, what?
Most animations are completed at 30 frames a second, so with thousands and thousands of frames in each episode of Gravity Falls, there's a ton of frames to keep track of. In some cases, objects or characters turn into duplicates. Are you ready to play along and spot the mistakes? The first one comes from Weirdmageddon Part 1. Watch as the townsfolk evade Bill Cipher's attack. Look closely, and you'll spot a duplicate character in the scene. See him? Let's slow things down right there. It's Nate. Either this was a mistake or he got a hold of the same copy machine Dipper used to clone himself with. Okay, duplicate number 2. Mabel and her pals are attending a fancy party and waiting for the boys to show up. Just a little casual conversation until someone transforms. Spot the error? Well, if you look closely at Grenda's ponytail, it suddenly splits into 2 separate ponytails. Another character and another duplicate part. This one comes from the Love God. When the Love God first makes his big entrance, check him out in close detail. All of a sudden, he has 2 chins. Nope, not a double chin. Literally 2 chin nubs right there on his face. Sometimes the layers in an animated scene don't go exactly as planned. Case in point, the episode Sock Opera. During a scene, we see Mabel play with a collection of sock puppets. As she's crooning puppet boy, see if you can spot the mistake. Nope, not the sock puppet, not Mabel's sweater either. Look down at her legs right behind the piano. As she plays with sock puppets, her legs just happen to disappear under the floor. Once you see the mistake, you can't unsee it. The whole layering feels strange, and the whole scene makes the keyboard look out of place as well. The benefit of Gravity Falls and their animation mistakes is that so much weird stuff goes on in the town that everything could be explained with the strange events. When characters talk on cartoons, their mouths go through a whole lot of bizarre movements no human is known for. On Gravity Falls, sometimes their mouths disappear completely. The small errors are a little hard to see with the human eye, but we'll freeze frame them for you to see how they look. First up, it's the opening scene to Little Gift Shop of Horrors. As Stan invites us to hear his tales of terror, his mouth disappears and seemingly goes behind his nose. Sure, he has a big nose, but not big enough to hide a whole mouth. Next up, the episode Golf War. As Dipper gets ready to hit the ball, his focus and concentration causes him to lose his mouth along the way. All these blank faces get odder to look at the more you see them. And now we will enter the bottomless pit, another Gravity Falls episode split into multiple shorts. When Dipper changes his voice, the first idea he has is to make some epic prank phone calls. As he grabs the phone and says hello, there's a single frame where his mouth just disappears. Who knew the serum would change his voice and cause his mouth to disappear? We covered the missing mouths, but now let's check out some scenes where character eyes just disappear. First up, try to spot the blink and you miss it moment from the episode Sock Opera. Dipper, Wendy, and Seuss all head to the car. Right before Wendy asks Dipper if he needs a ride, check out how his eyes turn completely blank for a moment. The freeze frame even looks creepier knowing it's Bill Cipher behind those empty eyes. Wendy may have seen Dipper's empty eyes, but she had her own eyeless moment in the season 1 episode Double Dipper. Watch closely in real time.
What's your favorite type of snack food?
Oh man, I can't just pick one.
No way! Mine too!
Did you spot it? Yeah, it's literally only a single frame. And stop there. You're spooking us out, Wendy. She's clearly spent too much time in Gravity Falls. And back to Sock Opera, we go with the second eye disappearance, this one on Dipper. And the moment couldn't be more ironic. When Bill Cipher says, "I'm keeping an eye on you," and transforms into a hideous beast, Dipper's pupils and eyebrows both disappear. It almost seems intentional, only it wasn't. One of the more iconic parts of Grunkle Stan's look is his hand bandage. He always has the bandage on his right hand, but there are a few instances where the bandage disappears or changes in ways we never expected. The first moment appears in the Season 2 episode The Love God, when the Woodstick Festival comes to Gravity Falls. The whole invasion turns out to be Stan's worst nightmare. How bad is it? He decides to take a crossbow and shoot at the hot air balloons floating into the town. Look closely at the bandage on his hand when he lifts up the crossbow. Suddenly, the whole bandage is colored completely black instead of white. The color mix-up must have happened when the animators colored the crossbow as the bandage matches the weapon design. The next time we see a major bandage mistake is in the episode A Tale of Two Stans. This infamous episode reunited Stan and his twin brother Ford. But things don't go smoothly at first. As Stan raises his fist to slap Ford, take a look at his hand. For several seconds, the hand appears without a bandage on it. In the episode Double Dipper, Dipper tries to get closer to Wendy, and he does this by revealing the source of his nickname, Dipper. He got the nickname as a child due to a birthmark on his forehead in the shape of the Big Dipper. Hence the whole birth and birthmark. You would always expect Dipper to have the constellation shape on his forehead, but this wasn't always the case. In Weirdmageddon Part 2, Escape from Reality, we watch multiple flashbacks of when Dipper and Mabel were younger. In one of them, Dipper shaves right up to the center of his forehead, but there's no birthmark underneath. The scene lasts for several seconds and there's never any glimpse of the birthmark. The show is pretty great at keeping up with storylines and character changes, so we're pretty surprised they decided to omit the Big Dipper design for the flashback. It was the whole reason he got the nickname as a kid after all. Okay, here's a mistake that's just a little frustrating once you notice. First, let's take a quick look at the opening scene of the Season 2 episode Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons.
I just ate a bag of cheese boodles without using my hands.
So did you spot the problem? Well, look closely. No, not a Grunkle Stan. We're still focused on Mabel. Check out all her fingers. The classic cheesy puff dilemma. But how in the world would she have the neon-colored cheese dust all over her hands if she claimed to eat the whole bag without using any hands? She either had a second bag, or maybe the lines were dubbed over after the fact. Or the animators just had a little extra fun after seeing the cheese boodles bag in the scene. Okay, on second thought, it's not the animator's fault. Mabel is just an attention-seeking liar. Grunkle Stan is too busy to pay attention at the moment, and she desperately wanted his admiration. Okay, yeah, we are really overanalyzing this. There's animation mistakes, and then there are some huge blunders. Check out some of these quick screenshots from the Season 1 episode Boys Crazy. As Mabel and her pals try to get backstage at a boy band concert, they run into some major animation problems. See anything there? Or there? Okay, here's the big giveaway. Check out the crate in the bottom right corner of the screen. One side of the crate is completely unfinished. It looks like the side was drawn in using Microsoft Paint. Clearly, the animation reference was used by some sort of rough sketch or storyboard, but it made it all the way through to the final production. In live action, the clip is on screen for like 2 seconds, but you can't miss the moment once you know it's there. And hey, we can't blame them or anything. They did have special guest Lance Bass on set to voice all 5 members of the boy band several times. So, with so much budget put on the NSYNC legend, we can only imagine a few other mistakes got ignored along the way. Time for some major animated body morphs, and a majority of them have to do with Dipper. Again, first, the opening scene of the Season 2 episode Into the Bunker. Dipper and Wendy get some alone time together as they watch the fictional black and white zombie film Nearly Almost Dead But Not Quite. As the two chat, watch at the moment just before he says the word how. His mouth suddenly moves off his face and to the right of the screen. Probably fitting, considering the two are watching a zombie movie. Flash forward to later in Season 2 for the episode Our Universe is Doomed. As Dipper uses a nightlight to uncover the secret messages hidden in journals 1 through 3, take a close look at Dipper's face. Spot anything strange? Okay, a hint. Take a look at his tongue. Instead of the usual pinkish red coloring, the tongue is the same color as his skin tone. You can even compare the colors to Mabel's tongue right next to him to see how the error stands out even more. And now we go from tongues and mouths to a whole missing hand. As Bill Cipher interacts with Dipper, he gets pretty animated with his arms and hands. In a quick flash, you can actually see one of Bill's hands just disappear. That moment goes by quickly, but is clearly an animation flub. In the world of animation, it's all about the details. there are some elements that go over our heads unless we really process the scenes. When switching from various angles, it's surprising how much can actually change in a scene. See if you can spot the animation mistake from the episode Not What He Seems. Here's the front view as Dipper and Mabel discover a closet full of fireworks. And now, the next angle. What do you notice? Yep, Mabel and Dipper actually switch positions. Mabel is now on the right, while Dipper's on the left. The positions were the opposite on the front angle, and there was not enough time for the characters to switch positions. It's really a minor detail, but one you will notice every time you rewatch the episode in the future. There are a lot of little moments like this in any cartoon, but this scene stood out because of the close-up view we have to the back of Dipper and Mabel's heads.
Want to see what else is on TV?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all
Should be
right.
fun.
My favorite part's the theme song.
And there you have it. Missing eyes, missing mouths, and some funky animation mistakes. Anything we missed? Which one was the most obvious? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content.